Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Here, we take a deep dive into the statements of Israel Dagg, not merely as a discussion about choosing the All Blacks head coach, but as a reflection on identity, values, and the soul of the legendary black jersey. If you're interested in rugby at a deeper level, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join me on this journey. Let's analyze Israel Dagg's recent comments together. These are not simply the opinions of a former star player on the issue of selecting a new head coach for the All Blacks. At a deeper level, they are the heartfelt voice of a New Zealander whose blood and soul are bound to rugby, to the legendary black jersey, and to a national identity forged over generations. As I carefully read and reflect on each line of his words, I clearly sense a profound concern. The All Blacks are not only losing form, but are also facing the risk of losing the very soul that once defined their greatness. 1. I don't care who the coach is, a seemingly casual statement with real weight. At first glance, the comment, "I don't care who coaches the All Blacks," might sound dismissive or evasive, as if Dagg were avoiding technical analysis or showing indifference toward a crucial decision for New Zealand rugby. But the more deeply I read into it, the clearer the opposite becomes. This, not caring, is not apathy, it is a statement of absolute priority for core values. Dagg is not focused on names, resumes, or reputations. What matters most to him is attitude, spirit, and respect for the All Blacks jersey, a symbol not just of a sports team, but of an entire nation. Here, I see a distinctly New Zealand philosophy: people may change and tactics may evolve, but foundational values must never be compromised. When Dagg says the coach must put the jersey first, he reminds us that the All Blacks were great not only because they won, but because they understood what they represented.
2. A crisis of trust after the Scott Robertson era. Scott Robertson's dismissal after 2 turbulent years reflects a harsh reality: New Zealand no longer tolerates instability. The All Blacks are not a team allowed the luxury of long-term experimentation in the way other nations might be. Here, winning is not just a goal, it is almost a cultural obligation, yet I also sense a deep internal contradiction. On one hand, fans and administrators demand immediate success. On the other, modern rugby is evolving rapidly, especially as rivals like South Africa, France, and Ireland invest with greater structure, science, and patience than ever before. In my view, Robertson's departure is not merely the failure of an individual, but a sign that the All Blacks are struggling to reconcile their tradition of instant success with the necessity of long-term rebuilding. 3. Jamie Joseph, Dave Rennie, and the question of who fits best. The debate around Jamie Joseph and Dave Rennie shows that New Zealand rugby is still looking inward. Both are New Zealanders with international experience, fitting the criteria set by the union. What stands out, however, is Dagg's lack of clear favoritism. To me, this is deeply thought-provoking. Perhaps Dagg understands that the All Blacks' problems do not lie solely with the name on the coaching bench. If the system, culture, and expectations remain unchanged, then whether it is Jamie Joseph or Dave Rennie, the pressure will be just as crushing. When Dagg says, "If it's Jamie Joe, that would be great," it feels less like a firm endorsement and more like a cautious hope. A hope that the next coach will have the strength to guide a team desperately trying to rediscover itself. 4. The jersey, a symbol of national pride. The moment that moved me most was when Dagg spoke about New Zealand gifting All Blacks jerseys to visitors, artists, and anyone who comes to their country. That jersey is not merely a souvenir, it is a declaration: we are proud of who we are, of our country, and of our rugby. Yet Dagg admits that he is no longer sure how many people still feel that pride today. Instead, there is anxiety and unease whenever rugby is mentioned. To me, this is the most serious warning of all. When a national team no longer inspires pride, the crisis goes far beyond the scoreboard. It has entered the collective psyche of society. 5. The pressure named South Africa and the measure of greatness. 4 matches against the Springboks in 2026, 3 of them in South Africa, are presented by Dagg as the ultimate test. South Africa here is not just a powerful opponent, they are a mirror for the All Blacks. The Springboks can afford to lose a few matches between World Cups, as long as they peak at the right moment. New Zealand is different. They are expected to win always, everywhere. Personally, I believe this difference is both a strength and a burden. It creates standards so unforgiving that they can sometimes suffocate natural development. Yet at the same time, it is precisely this no-compromise mindset that has defined the All Blacks' identity for decades. 6. Playing style, emotion, and fan expectations. Dagg speaks of wanting to see consistent, exciting performances, matches where the All Blacks fight for the full 80 minutes with an unyielding spirit. I don't think this is merely his personal wish, it is the collective voice of the fans. They don't just want victories, they want victories that make them proud to wear the black jersey. Here, I strongly sense nostalgia for the golden era, when the All Blacks dominated not only through results, but through a style of play that made the entire rugby world stand in awe. The question is, can that era be reclaimed in a global rugby landscape that is increasingly balanced? Or is it simply a beautiful memory, an ideal standard to strive toward? Even if it can never be fully recreated. 7. Personal reflection, between tradition and reality. If I put myself in the shoes of a New Zealander, I think I would feel the same internal conflict as Dagg. On one hand, I would want to preserve the winning identity, the pride, and the sky-high standards. On the other, I would understand that no peak lasts forever without embracing change. To me, Dagg's words are not a call for blind nostalgia, but a reminder that all innovation must begin with core values. Tactics can become more modern, players can become stronger, but without reverence for the jersey, the All Blacks would be reduced to merely a strong team, no longer a symbol. 8. Conclusion. The All Blacks are searching for themselves. Ultimately, I believe what Dagg truly wants is not a perfect coach, but someone brave enough to put values above short-term results, strong enough to withstand the pressure of winning at all costs, and wise enough to reignite the pride that has long been woven into the blood of New Zealanders. The All Blacks are at a crucial crossroads. The road ahead will not be easy, especially as rivals like South Africa continue to evolve. But if there is one thing that makes me deeply resonate with Dagg, it is this belief: as long as the All Blacks rediscover their core spirit, no matter how difficult the journey, they will still be the All Blacks, the team loved not only for its victories, but for the values it represents.
Above is Scrum Masters Elite_UK's perspective on Israel Dagg's concerns and the All Blacks' journey to rediscover their identity. If you love rugby and the values behind the black jersey, don't forget to subscribe to the Scrum Masters Elite_UK channel. See you again.